Okay, it's not nearly as bad at the park itself. On the drive-in, the fog was bad. I went very slow. It took longer to get here than usual because the fog was just really, really heavy. Dense fog, like a comforter of fog. Not just a blanket, a comforter. Those are heavier, I think. Anyway, yeah, probably 50 feet in front of me is about as far as I could see at one point when we were kind of going through the open fields. Maybe 75, not 100. I don't think so. It's pretty dense. And so why am I out here on such a miserable day? It's a new year and I've got a bunch of new toys, basically. Um, I mean, the hat that I have, I've worn a couple of times. The jacket, I've worn once or twice. It's still fairly new. The gloves are new. I got more camo gloves, more fleece-lined camo pants. I'm wearing new boots and the thickest wool socks I've ever had. They're all new. I did a bit of spending over the holiday. A bit. But we've got all of that, and we've got some new stuff for carrying when we are out there and walking around. So that's what we're not really going to do a lot of walking around. It's kind of spitting a little bit. The forecast calls for snow tonight, but not this morning. So it was just a lot of fog. There was a little bit of road, like ice and snow, just a little bit on the drive-in, but not too bad. And there's nothing here on the ground, so I don't expect that to be an issue. But we are going to go to the spot that's covered, hopefully. There's a couple other cars here, so hopefully they're out walking their dogs, and hopefully they're not in the blind, that little wooden hut that we came to last time, because that's what I'm going to do today. I'm just going to bring everything out there. It's kind of a test to see how everything works when we got it. You'll see there's a vest, there's a new belt. I'll talk about that later, or maybe make a separate video for it, but I will do that rather than just saying I'll do it and then leaving it for the future and not doing it. But I will do that. But we're going to go see what kind of wildlife we can see. Maybe not much with this fog coverage, but we're going to go sit out and watch and see. So let's go do that. Hey everybody. I don't think I actually said that this morning, and I usually do. It's cold. It's pretty cold out there. We were out there for about 2 hours, and it's below zero. It's like 20-something degrees. Didn't really warm up. Didn't expect it to. Again, it's a winter day. this is winter. Rules of winter are different. We got out there. The batteries don't last very long. Did the best that we could. Saw one bird off in the distance pretty far. Actually, while I was recording that one, I happened to be looking out the window of this blind that's set up there, and I saw a bald eagle, I think. Either that or one of the other eagles or an osprey. I know the ospreys are around here, but I don't remember which one has white on the tail feathers. I'm pretty sure that's the bald eagle. I think it's a bald eagle, but I'll find out for sure. But anyway, I didn't get that on camera. I was looking at the other one, and I just saw that swoop down for a moment. There was no time for me to readjust the camera and get it. But, cool. We saw something. Mostly it was landscape, mostly foggy landscape. When we came out here a few weeks ago, before I took a Christmas and New Year's vacation, I set up the camera right there in that blind. It's a little wooden shack there. It's great for that. And I put the camera right out in front and just recorded some landscape. Did that again, but now it's foggy. So same location, fog now. Kind of cool. It's something that it's winter. We saw what we saw and we're happy about it. That's the point that matters. And then we got back in the car after trudging through everything. It all worked well. We'll go over that in a moment. But I kind of don't like plastic. I'm starting to really not like plastic so much in certain ways. Put it that way. It's cheap. Here, I just upgraded. I've been spending money. I've been talking about it, but I got the gooseneck on the GoPro. This will be better because we're going to start doing videos while we're driving. And then I have for this camera that I'm holding, this typically goes up here, suction cup mount, so I have multiple angles. Well, you might notice this little jagged piece here just broke. Here. This just snapped in half. Just completely, while I was setting up for doing this, just completely destroyed. So that's a bummer. I've got metal on the GoPro mount now. The actual thing that it clips into. I set up a whole thing where now I've got the GoPro. I'm using it for a couple different things. And rather than, I hate that screw. It just takes so long to unscrew and rescrew. I'd rather have it on basically a quick release. So it's screwed in because that's the only way to attach a GoPro to anything. But it's screwed into something that's then on a quick release. So I can pop that out. I can pop it onto my vest. I can pop it onto a tripod. I've got it set up in a couple different ways so I can be using the GoPro a bit more. Apparently I'm going to have to get some kind of housing for this now, unfortunately. Some kind of mounting system for it. This little thing sucked. And the other one we talked about before was not made for this. This is just ever so slightly millimeters bigger than the Gen 1. This is like the Gen 2 or version 2 or whatever. I forget the number naming. But the other one that I had was something that I got because this little plastic thing kind of sucks. So I got another plastic one, but it was more of a housing that would go all the way around it and kind of snap on. But it wouldn't work with this attachment on there. It's got a little, it's got extra buttons. It's these things. I have to take this off every time and then lose it and drop it in my car. I really didn't like that. But they just don't make it. I got to find something else. And there's even a newer version of this with a sliding screen, but that's like $500. I've spent more than enough. Speaking of spending money, over the Christmas and New Year's vacation, I did a couple upgrades. I thought about where I go, what I do, what I want to see, It was really the last trip out that I went just before vacation. I went out and did some still photography, and I'm out at St. Vrain, place we go to all the time. And I'm looking and just taking pictures and enjoying. And at one point, there's I see over in the distance some rather large hawks doing a swoop down. Almost two of them, not at the exact same time, but one and then the other. And I go, oh, something's over there. And then a bunch of birds take off from there. And something's there, and I don't know what. And I'm watching and I'm seeing. And it's a good, 100, 150 feet away maybe. And here come, as it turns out, kind of catch to the side, I look over, coyote. It's a pair of coyote out there. They didn't actually wind up going towards whatever was on the ground. I couldn't see. There was too much foliage there. And it was down a path I could not go without breaking the rules. That area is closed off to the public. But I just happened to be, and they weren't super close, but pair of coyote. Now, it's pretty rare that coyotes attack humans, as I understand it. They'd have to be really desperate and see an easy target or something like that. It's not very common. But they're there, and it could be, and we're out in the wilderness, so there are a few rules that we need to follow for something like that. One of them is carrying bear spray or mace of something like that. And I haven't been doing that recently. I used to do it all the time, and then it was one where I bought a can of bear spray,
I bought it 4 years ago. I know because it expired in December 2024, just last month. So I just had to get myself a new one. But for a while there, it came with a little holster. Not really. It was just a holder, honestly. Holster sounds way better. It's just a little piece of cloth that it sits in, and it kind of there. And it got to the point where it wore out over 4 years, and it fell off. Like it got to the point where it was so loose that the bear spray just fell out one day. I went out and I did wildlife a couple months ago at this point, and I went out and I was sitting in the blind, and I reached down and realized, oh, I don't have the bear spray on me. Uh-oh, that was definitely on me when I left. Hope that's in the car. Hope it fell out there. And I found it on the walk back to the car. It was on the ground. And that was where I needed to do something else because it clearly wasn't working. So I put it on a belt. I had a utility belt that I was using. Now, I don't have it with me to show you, so hopefully, Michael, you're editing this, put in some footage of the belt. That belt, the black one, I have been using for wildlife stuff for quite some time. It's very useful. It gets things out of a bag that hurts my back. It puts them around the waist, centering, when you I've looked up enough videos and kind of researched about this. When you're carrying a lot of weight, putting it around your hips really helps because of the way that your body's structured. You're not putting too much on your back and you're redistributing the weight. So the belt's really useful for that. And I did okay liking it, but it's not great. That belt is so old. That belt was not bought for photography reasons. That belt was bought for airsoft reasons when I was like 13. So you're talking literally 20 years ago. We would play airsoft, my friends and I, when we were teenagers. We would go shooting each other in the backyard. And that was like, we would get, a couple different things here or there. And I remember going, oh, I want this. And I bought like a vest with the utility belt attached. And it was cheap. It was not expensive, maybe 40 or 50 bucks, which was a lot to me at 13 and still is a lot today. But anyway, it's not great. And it was fun. And I put it on. I barely fit into it as it was. But I remember going over and my friends being like, yeah, okay, that's a little ridiculous, don't you think? And I'm like, yeah, it is. But I could carry magazines and everything. I wasn't loading them down in my pockets. It was fun. Anyway, the vest, I don't know what happened to it at this point. I don't know where that's gone to. I think it molded because I left it in an outside storage for a long time. But I still had the belt. And so I went, oh, I can use this. I can use the belt with things like pouches. There is a pouch system, mostly the military uses it, called Molly. That's what this is. It stands for something. It's not spelled the way it's really seen, but it's these hooks and loops or not, that's Velcro, but it's straps and loops for them to go through and all this stuff, right? So I've been trying to do that for some time. And it was never perfect, that belt, because it just went on there and then I'd load it up and then everything would shift. Nothing held it in place. And so things would, I'd pick it up out of the bag or I'd go to put it on and everything would shift down. So eventually my goal became, well, it can't shift if there's everything. So I just filled every slot and then I tried putting like suspenders on it. That was the last thing that I really did to it. And then I just wound up not using it for the last few months at all because it just got more of a hassle than anything. And then, for whatever reason, I never bothered to look up anything about it until this Christmas vacation, where I thought, oh, I should really get back to... The coyotes reminded me I need my bear spray. And I did get on the belt, I do have bear spray in a holster now, an actual holster. So this attaches to the belt, and I carry the bear spray just in case we go out. I assume... it's basically just capsaicin, yeah? Basically mostly capsaicin and inert ingredients. If a human says, ooh, expensive cameras, it's something. Not last resort. Hope that never happens. Same thing. I actually have other ideas for that. But anyway, it's not a gun. I don't want to carry a gun. I don't like guns. I don't want to have anything to do with that. It's something. If they have a gun, here's my camera. My life is not worth that. We're not going to go down that path. I know better. But anyway, the point is the belt. That system wasn't carrying it, so I bought a new belt. And I bought an actual Molly belt. What I had was a cheap airsoft toy. This is a belt. This is a Molly belt. I like the buckle, and the reason that it's different is that it actually holds everything on here, and nothing goes anywhere because it has hooks for these things to go through. If you already know about this, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's a double line, so there's Velcro on the inside, so I can Velcro things to it, which I've done here. You can open it up. It's got different things. It's really high quality. It's nice. And then you can put everything that gets attached to it goes through the hooks. It's got hooks. I mean, it's got loops. That's what I'm trying to say. It's got loops for everything to go through, so nothing is sliding around. It's really nice. And it wasn't all that much. I should have done this years ago. So anyway, I bought that. That was the first thing. That was the kind of step. And I already had most of these pouches. The camo ones are different. The other thing I can do, in case there's wildlife that I just need to, hey, keep my distance. Again, don't want to carry a gun. What I don't have today, I didn't think I needed it or wanted to really bring it because it's kind of bulky. I don't have it worn in yet. This loop right here that is brown is for a bullwhip. It's a noisemaker. That's what it is. I used to crack whips when I was a teenager as well. Airsoft and whip cracking. Those were some of the things that I was into at the point, at that time. And so I thought, well, it's not illegal. I looked up everything I could. I searched the internet for quite a while. Nowhere does it say it's a weapon. It's not classified as such. It's basically a noisemaker. They use them for, cattle, herding cattle. It's just a noisemaker. Anyway, I have several bullwhips now. I want to get out and crack the bullwhips at some point, kind of wear them in and then put them on the belt. And I definitely didn't need it coming to a park like this, and it would just be cumbersome to have. So I have that as an option. That's cool. And it doesn't have anything to do with the fact that I just played Indiana Jones and the Great Circle and went, ooh, and then I bought quite a few hats. You'll see I have a number of new wide-brimmed hats. They're not exactly fedoras. They're not exactly Indiana Jones, but I'm really happy with what I found. I've bought a few hats over the years, especially since I started shaving my head, and I need a way to protect me from the sun. So I wear hats all the time now. I never used to wear hats when I had hair. But now I'm wearing hats a lot more, and I do have, the main one I've been wearing for years is that brown one, that wide-brimmed brown one. I forget the exact style, but it was just something I got. And I never considered buying hats off of eBay, used vintage, nice hats, and I found a bunch and then ordered 7 hats. I got a bunch. They're coming in, and I'm learning how to, I watched a video from Adam Savage because he talks about wearing hats a lot. He wears similar hats, and he does fantastic videos if you aren't subscribed to him. But one of the ones that he did was he talked about, how you form a hat or you reblock it, I think is what it was called. And there's different, you use steam and then how to clean it and care for it and all these things. Anyway, that really made me, I've bought a couple. I got hats and I got things to take care of them because I care about taking care of the things I'm spending money on. But back to the belt. I bought the belt. The belt, I needed more pouches. And when I started looking up Molly pouches, again, mostly buying things through eBay because I cut off Amazon almost entirely, I found I could just buy actual, not like this, that is the Molly system with just something that I got off of Amazon years ago at this point, I think, but actual military surplus. Never considered that before. Never thought about it. Don't know why. I've bought military surplus stuff before. It definitely is an option. I just never thought about it. So I bought a kit that came with a vest, tons of pouches for lots of things, and a backpack. And it's awesome. It was not super expensive. It came with all the things I needed. I've got it fully loaded up with all the stuff as I go out. And this is where the GoPro goes. I can put that on. You probably saw me wearing it when I did anything camera-wise facing me. It's great. I did my best to cover up. I don't want it to say that it's U.S. military on it. I don't want there to be any kind of, I don't know, is stolen valor the right word? Not necessarily. I don't want people to think that I'm associated with the military in any way, or I used to be, or I'm a veteran, and that gets a whole, I'm not. And so it's good quality. And it was actually, I went, well, it's either them selling it like the stuff that I've found before, where, they say it's military, and then you get it, and you go, oh, military grade means nothing. This is not real, they're not really using good quality, or this isn't a real thing, or whatever. No, this was actually used in service by Air Force, a soldier in the Air Force, and I know that for sure because it was still, there were little pockets somewhere, and I found paperwork from the military. I can't show that. That's far too much revealing information about the officers involved, but there was a letter that was there's a letter written to the higher-ups going, hey, we're carrying way too much stuff into the field. I don't think we need to carry this much. It's weighing us down. It's slowing us down. It's costing us energy and therefore money and all these things. And it was written to the higher-ups. And it was they had just printed his email with all the people's names and everything up at the top. They just printed it with the list that this soldier suggested, or officer, I don't know what, of here's what we should be carrying out, and just wrote packing list on it, and just, I guess we're handing them back to people going, here's the only things you need to bring from now on. So that was interesting. But yeah, the backpack is great. This is really, it's a sturdy backpack. It's fantastic for what I'm doing with it, which is this just goes in the car. This is just what I'm putting stuff in for the car. So like the gimbal's in here for the big camera, which I'm not setting up. My mic stuff's in there. I got the battery pack, the battery bank to charge everything that I need in the car. It's mostly all that stuff for the car. And it's got like a plastic, if I were to buy a hiking backpack, I've seen those before. They've got inserts to keep their shape. It helps with weight distribution, I'm pretty sure, and things like that. It's not perfect for photography. I am using, there was a small waist bag here. You may have seen, I'm now using that for my audio equipment. Let me see if I can grab that. Yeah. This is what they would wear around their waist, I guess, to hold something. I don't know what. But it works great for my audio equipment when we go out. I've got my two mics and my recorder and the whole setup there. That fits perfect in that bag, so that worked really well. It had a hydration bladder. That's the other thing that I don't need unless I'm doing really, really long trips. It didn't actually contain the bladder. It was the holder. The bladder is the plastic bag with a nozzle hose thing so that you have water when you're out hiking and stuff. But like it came with all that stuff. It was a good deal, I think, for everything there. I would have spent way more buying the pieces individually, and it's good quality. It is used, but like it's still got plenty of life left in it, and it's nice. It's really cool, so I'm really happy about that. Yeah. You'll be seeing me using that stuff now. I got to figure out some kind of patch or something to put over the words US just so that there's no confusion. There's nobody stops me or thinks that there's weapons of some kind, because that is what it looks like. You are kind of geared up like a military person. I didn't use any of the holsters, or I'm using some of the stuff that where you would carry clips of ammo, but I'm using it for other things, microphones and tripods and other things like that. Putting it to good use. And I'm really happy about it. It worked really well today. I didn't notice it. The only thing that I need to tweak is that GoPro. Where that goes on me when I'm out there walking around. I had it before, what we've been using it for months. And especially, I really want to do this because over the Christmas vacation, there was a comment came through on one of the videos, which I really appreciate, from someone who was like, hey, I'm from Australia. It was on one of the come along videos is what I call them, where I would just strap the GoPro and mostly do when I'm out walking for still photography, just walk for 2 hours or whatever it is and just have that rolling the entire time. So you just kind of get that, like you're there, nature only, walking through the forest or whatever it is. And somebody from Australia commented being like, hey, I really like these videos. This is perfect for exactly what I want to listen to and, you know, watch and whatnot. I was like, all right, there's the motivation. Let's get back to doing that. I haven't done that in a minute. So I'm going to be doing that, but I need to tweak what, with the vest and everything on there. I bought a little adapter, like I said, metal. I'm trying to get everything metal because it'll last a lot longer than this cheap plastic stuff for the GoPro. So it's a MOLLE attachment. So it goes in one of the MOLLE loops, and it should hold it, but it really kind of sags, and the camera's pointed more down than I want it to. Not ideal. I do have a backpack strap. I'm going to try that next, I think. I used to just use a mount itself that was like a strap, you know, like a chest harness, basically, for the GoPro, and that's what I've been doing for a while now. But I'm trying not to mix them out. I don't want to have to get out here. I'm already bundled up with like 3 layers because of how cold it is. Then I put the vest on. Then I need to put a GoPro harness on to do that on top of it, which is going to sit where the vest is like clipped in and stuff. That's not going to work. So we'll figure it out. It's either I'm going to move the MOLLE GoPro mount higher up so that when it does fall down, it still gives a nice angle, or I'll switch it to the other strap. I'll figure something out. I'm really not concerned about that. I do have to buy something new for this, like we said, but everything was great besides not seeing too much wildlife. I'm having a really good time, and we're enjoying it. Got some new toys and played with all of them here in the new year. I keep looking around here in my car. I don't know how much you could see with this. The other thing I'm going to do, we were, I don't really need a phone mount necessarily, but I had an extra one basically because we were trying to get Bonnie's car. Her phone mount died over the just would no longer hold it whatsoever. We bought 2, and she got one that's magnetic, which works. And I took a magnetic plate and added it to mine because I have a magnet in the back of my phone to stick it to things. But then the cable is just, it has to be plugged in order to get directions on here. So I'm going to rework that and actually tuck it down so it's not just across my dash. And then since I was ordering things, I did order a dash cam too. Because, somebody stole my license plate at one point, or there could be an accident, and I'd rather not take the chances. But anyway, that's mostly spending talk more so than it is wildlife. I do have a personal vlog that'll come out probably soon that I'm about to record because I have a topic for that. But that's it. That's all the kind of new things that I want to do a whole video. I've been talking about it for probably a year or two now, going over all the camera equipment and what I actually use. And we're going to do that at some point. I just haven't gotten to it. But in the meantime, that's the little things that I did over the vacation. I got everything set up and ready to go. I actually ordered 2 pair of gloves. I have 2 pair of shoes, 2 pair of pants. I mostly got new everything because this is the main thing that I'm doing when I go out, and I should have things that last. My other fleece-lined pants were so good. They're so good, but they've worn all the way through to the point where I'm starting to get holes in them. So I need to patch those up a bit and get the most life that I can. I did order 2 pair of gloves, so I would have them to alternate. The other ones that came in were 2 right-handed gloves. Doesn't do me any good. So there's a trip to the FedEx to return a package. I have to get my money back on that. That didn't work. I might order another pair. I haven't decided yet. Kind of been spending a lot. But anyway, that's the stuff that I got going on right now. That's what I'm working on here in the beginning of 2025 when we go out and see wildlife. The belt worked great. The vest worked great. And then I have a backpack, and then I carry the other stuff with a backpack. If it wasn't spitting, frozen rain, I would have set up the camera and tripod and carried them hand in hand, so I could have put the backpack with the other stuff actually on my back. Instead, I had a backpack with the bigger, more expensive camera that is not water resistant and I did not want to have exposed, and then just carried the backpack with the other one. But yeah, good time out, kind of foggy, but we made the most of it. So that'll do it. Until next time, everybody. Bye.